Hello, everybody. Hi, how are you? This is Heather, and I'm back. So I said I wasn't going to turn this channel into the like a Dissidia channel, but I wanted to try something, and I wanted to talk through it because it seems like a really fun thing to do in terms of having characters interact in like an RPG setting. And I think it's a thing that a lot of Dissidia players want to try, which is to have Paladin Cecil, who is the latest character to get tons of special weapons, in a fight, not in a fight like, I'll fight you, but in a fight with Balthier as a teammate. So we are actually going to do the latest Lufenia mission, and this one's kind of easy compared to some of the more recent ones. I showed off that one with Cedar where I sort of outlined the game's mechanics. I'll still talk about those. We had one before though, which was like an Onion Knight focused one. It was Final Fantasy III, and that one was terribly hard. This is a little easier, and it's going to be even easier because we have these characters interacting. So, why do I want Paladin Cecil and Balthier in a party? Well, for a couple reasons. The first is, again, that ship above Balthier's head, which is called Sky-Plying Straw. Each turn, it's going to get stronger and stronger. At level 1, his attack is raised by 50%. At level 2, his max brave, which is this stuff down here, which acts as the total pool of damage we can do, and like sort of like a defense sort of buffer as well. His max brave can be increased by 50%. The amount of brave damage he does to an enemy, because we have, with enemies, they have brave and then HP. We want to break them like we have here by depleting their brave and then hitting their HP. He can do 20% more of that. Then after that, at level 4, he can do 20% more damage to their HP. And then at level 5, that's going to go to every single character in the party. I, right now, have Firion from Final Fantasy II, the protagonist, for those of you who don't know. I'm going to apply an attack called Vortex of Arms. What this does is that it gives all the enemies a debuff, where if they act, he's going to counterattack. And pretty much every attack that Firion does heals the party, which is good because this orb up here is the Leuphenia Orb. For those of you who don't know what the deal is with Lufenia events, they have these orbs, and if those orbs get to 0, your party instantly dies. So we don't want that. Instead, what we want is to be really strong and buff and cool, and with Paladin Cecil, we can do that because he's already giving the party some buffs to attack and to their max brave, but then also now with this ability, which has tons of different effects. I'm not going to read them all. Called Luminous Shard. This is from his new limited weapon, Mythgraven Blade. Because again, this is a gacha, so be careful if that's not your thing. But what this does is it does a lot. After I've used it, he gets that sort of crystal ability, like above his head, like right here. It lasts for 12 turns. What that does is that gives our party 120% defense up when his HP is over half. It increases everyone's HP damage by 20%. It reduces the amount of HP damage they take by 20%. There's just a 40% attack buff overall. It's a lot of stuff. And as we keep on moving forward, that's going to start interacting with Balthier's buff as well. Now, some people might look at all these percentages and go, is it additive or multiplicative? And the answer is, I don't freaking know. Which is true. I actually just don't know. And I'm not going to be able to find out off the top of my head. I can't do the math off the top of my head because it's not showing me numbers or anything. I'm going to guess that it's, I don't know, I would hope it's additive or something. I'm a writer. I'm not a mathematician. This is Cecil's EX ability. This will do a couple of things, which the biggest one is that it will reduce everybody's light resistance, which I can use a free ability from that LD ability use to buff the party with light enchant, hit this enemy with this attack, and debuff the amount that, like, their defense against light, which means that they're just gonna start eating shit from light damage. It also means that characters who don't traditionally do light damage, like Balthier, will start doing it, which is really cool. We call those types of character interactions enchant imperils, because it imperils the enemy to a certain effect while also enchanting the party and giving them that specific element, which is cool. And you can see with Furion, every single time he is getting attacked right now, he is counterattacking. One thing we can do if we get there with Balthier is we can steal some of these buffs. Excuse me, my throat got funny. From this mannequin down here, because Balthier has the ability to steal buffs, which is very, very good. Let's do this. I'll do a little bit of damage to everybody. I'm not worried about this mannequin. It's not going to really hit us too hard, although, wow, it actually broke Paladin and Cecil, which is surprising. But what we can do, Balthier's biggest gimmick, besides just standing there looking pretty and buffing the party, is his ability Snatch Shot, which, as you can see, takes a buff off of that enemy and gives it to him, which means that we have characters who are just constantly healing. They're healing on a counterattack, and it doesn't matter when your character is doing the healing, so long as healing is happening, that Leuphenia Orb is going up. So I am just keeping that Leuphenia Orb basically in place. It's like a non-issue at this point, right? There's a couple characters that can probably do this. Characters that do a lot of healing while attacking are Theodore, who we showed off in our last video. Another option is someone like Rude from Final Fantasy VII. He's a cool character because he does a lot of damage mitigation, but then also he will heal with pretty much every attack. We're going to take damage here, but it's not going to matter because watch. We are going to use this single target ability from Furion and watch everyone's health pretty much back up to full, which is really great. In fact, we are back up to full, which is, that's just astounding. We're getting all this HP regen from Paladin Cecil. We're getting all of this just safety from his 120% defense up. And because of the interactions between him and Balthier, we're just getting big time damage up, which is really good. That mannequin is back. That's just going to happen throughout the fight. I'm not too worried. The goal is to beat up this big, I think it's called a hell worm. That's a fun name for an enemy. And you know, I wasn't going to make another Dissidia video, partially because I know people have very strong feelings about gacha, even though I've been showing off some stuff from Genshin Impact. I don't want to have a big discussion about my relationships with these sorts of games. It's very complicated. I like Dissidia a lot. A big thing that was going on, though, in my life, quite frankly, was that I was struggling. For anyone who's seen my Twitter, you know that it got really serious. Really serious. And what I wanted to do was to focus on creating some stuff, which means creating just some videos to focus my attention for a bit, which means not pouring myself the way I did leading up to my vacation, which was overworking myself, but pouring myself into my work for Double Fine to make sure I'm being the best possible teammate for everybody, like everybody else that I can be, and just working really hard. I'm not going to do any writing on the Skies of Arcadia fic. I'm not going to do a lot for To the Horizon right now, partially because I just need a little bit more time off on that front. And then also because what I would like to do is go back over old chapters and punch them up a little bit, make them a little bit more descriptive. And I also am working with a friend and editor to ensure that that we're just making the next chapter like really good from a lore standpoint. I really want the next one to be a home run that I hit out of the park. So that's going to be great. Again, Balthier can steal abilities. I actually held down on that too long. But we're going to steal abilities from that mannequin because we might as well just get buffs, right? We might as well just get free buffs from folks. I feel like some things are getting mismanaged here, just a tad, which is a little interesting to me. because I feel like these enemies should be doing a little bit more reduced brave damage, but it's not like we're taking a lot of HP damage when damage does come in, so I'm not too worried. What I am a little worried about is two things. This boss can petrify characters, just the way that sounds, right? Like a Medusa, turning people to stone. In some Lufenia events, that can be really bad. This is the attack. Hopefully, it's going to break Cecil. That's a bit of a bummer. In some circumstances, that's really bad. Because in some circumstances, and I'm going to do this just to reduce this enemy's brave, which is to bring in Onion Knight, manipulate the turn order. And I'm also doing this in the hopes that I can break them, and then when Cecil hits his turn, he won't be petrified anymore. What I was going to say, though, is that in some Lufenia events, if you get petrified, you're petrified for the whole fight, which is absolutely gnarly. That's not something we want. So instead, we are just going to try and see if we can get Cecil up very quickly, which I think after this turn, I think it only lasts for a single turn. Yep, he's back. So there we go, which is really good. And then we are just going to, in preparation for this big attack, buffer our brave just a tad to reduce some incoming damage. But then again, we have Furion. Furion's going to do a lot for us defensively. Totally fine. We're going to have to reapply the debuff for the counterattack. We're not going to do that until the Leuphenia Orb shows up again. We're not going to use any of these call abilities here either, where I can summon other characters until the Leuphenia Orb comes in. We're not going to summon down here our friend Ramza until the Leuphenia Orb comes in, because what I want more than anything is to, or I'm going to do it like maybe right before, because what I really, really want is to have even more interactions, which means bringing in Ramza to use his burst ability, which will just buff our party even more. It's buffs upon buffs upon buffs. It's absolutely wonderful. Again, I feel like the damage reduction should be here a little bit more on Brave, but maybe I'm misinterpreting things just a tad. I'm just doing this to see if I can break the enemy a tad more, do a little bit more free damage. And then we're slowly just trying to get this enemy down towards 50% or so. I think 49% actually is the actual threshold to get them to reapply the Leuphenia Orb. So we're just kind of getting through things here. Yeah, that's doing a little bit more brave and HP damage than I thought it would be. So maybe some of these interactions aren't firing off the way that I thought they would. I can still live with a lot of that, because I think we're still doing some cool stuff. One thing I can do here is Balthier's LD ability is called Tides of Fate. It gets rid of 3 buffs on an enemy, and luckily that mannequin has 3 buffs, so we can show it off. So we're just going to debuff the enemies entirely. We're not going to steal them this time. I don't think it steals them anyway. I think we're just going to actually remove them. No, it actually does steal them. That's amazing. So Balthier's big thing is mostly just standing there and looking very pretty and buffing the party. When he came out, people were very sort of upset because he didn't get like a rework of his abilities, which some characters get. Their abilities get tweaked as the game goes on and power creep becomes a thing. And he didn't have something which was called a LD board, which is that limited weapons have their own boards. Picture a oh no, this always happens. I gotta get rid of these pop-ups when things happen. People tag me on Discord or things all the time. That's about our Delubrum raid tonight. A thing that happens with LD boards though is that, imagine like a license board deal from Final Fantasy 12. Characters have those, and then weapons have those too. Balthier's LD didn't come with a board for it. So a lot of people were upset when Balthier came out because he was a global exclusive. People in North America and around the globe got him before Japanese players did. I can use this character, but if you're listening to me from Japan, you don't have access to this character yet. You have access to some other characters. I think our other global first was Vincent from Final Fantasy VII, who also some people have some problems with, thought was a little lackluster. But a lot of people have issues with... ooh, that hit really hard. A lot of people have issues with sort of how Balthier was handled. But in general, I like Balthier's like auras and everything a lot. I feel like maybe I'm mismanaging them a little bit, but it doesn't feel too bad. And instead what we're going to do here is as the Leuphenia Orb is going to come in... Oh my gosh, this Ramza doesn't have their burst. Oh no, my plan is kind of ruined. That's not good at all. Oh no. Oh, that's super bad. That's actually really bad. I should get this person off my friends list, because even though he's still going to be useful, he's not going to do the thing I want, which is to come in here, use his burst ability, and buff my party, because anytime a character uses a burst, they add special effects to the party. Oh, that sucks. Oh, that's actually like... This feels like a waste of a character right now. I feel you betray me. It's very disappointing. The orb's gonna come back here now. Which, gosh, I almost feel like it would have been better just to friggin' not to not have our friggin' fella here. We're going to come here, add a debuff here called Katana Wounds, which adds some more defense down. I'm going to light enchant everybody for free. And do one of these abilities heal? HP recovery in excess brave. This should heal people, which should bring the orb back up, which is fine. We can at least use this Ramza to launch the enemy into the air and sneak in some extra damage at least. Oh gosh, this person's coming off my friends list though. Oh wow, they're not getting launched anymore either. But we'll be able to launch the mannequin, which is interesting. This whole situation is kind of broken bad in a way I did not plan. What you want from your Ramza is you really want them to have their burst, which is Ultima, which I think you saw in the Theodore video, because it's just going to buff us even more on use. It's going to buff our Max Brave and a couple other things. As the fires burn around me, though, I say, this is fine. This is still winnable, mostly because Balthier and Paladin Cecil are going to give us so many interesting interactions that all this other stuff, all these other setbacks aren't going to matter as much. And we're going to get rid of Ramza pretty quickly. But we are going to have to heal pretty soon, I think, just to get that orb back up. Which means probably just another Holy Flame. I could wait it out. I probably could. And we're going to debuff that mannequin while we're at it, too. I probably could wait it out. But a thing I've learned from Lufenia is to just really respect the orb. Like, even if it's at 9, don't be like, I'm totally fine. Just like, oh, this is Cecil's normal attack, by the way. This should get us pretty high up. Yeah, that was like 100k right there. Really good. And it has Splash, which means that it also technically hit the, mannequin. So now we gotta get back to it. We're gonna push off one of these buffs by adding the debuff here. Or this should push it off. By adding the debuff here. We are going to use Balthier to get rid of as many of these debuffs as possible with Tides of Fate. Or, excuse me, not debuffs, the enemy's buffs. He's not going to buff himself again. So what we're going to do is, as turns come in again, we are going to use Snatch Shot. It's tempting to use his EX ability, Fires of War, to get rid of them. But actually, I just stole an HP up from him. So that's pretty good. Again, not the worst situation to be in. And we can sneak in here before the recast ability to get a couple things going, which is reapply Luminous Shard and get that defense up, which will be helpful for the next big attack that comes in. We are going to imperil them with light resist down again. Anytime you're in a burst and it's your character, you get all these abilities to use. I'm actually going to make sure that everybody is light enchanted again, which means that this burst is not going to be just damage, but it is going to ensure that I am getting the party set up in a way that I feel is satisfactory. And then the burst ability here, a couple things happen. We're going to get healed. We're going to get, when everybody's HP is over 100, we're going to get Brave up again. We're going to get some damage up stuff here. And then we're also going to get Overflow, which I'll explain after this shows up, because this is Cecil's attack, which is really cool. He goes between Dark Knight and Paladin. It's very, very cool. Bursts are a chance for extra damage. They're rare. They're rare things in the gacha pool. I pulled 2 of them in a row, which I don't know the statistics of that. Somebody could look it up and surprise me. It seems like statistically that's one hell of a thing. But let's not focus too much on that aspect of the game. What I was going to talk about was Overflow, which is the ability of your Brave, as I understand it, the ability of your Brave to exceed the amount of your quote-unquote max Brave. So you're seeing down there, my max Brave is like, you know, whatever, it's like 60k or something, but I am able to overflow that to like 100. Let's see how much this overflows for, right there, right? Like, that was like 70 something K. Balthier, we can even show it here. He's at his max of 20, of what's 20, of 62636, 69, nice. We're gonna do this because it's gonna debuff the enemy again, but we can see that's gonna increase. That's gonna increase a lot to another max, which was close to 90k, which is pretty darn great. My concern here now is that we're just going to be taking a lot more damage than I initially planned. Who's going to get petrified here? Oh, no one is, because they're already broken. Oh no, Balthier is, but that's okay. Remember, Balthier's job is to stand around and look real pretty. God, I am worried about this high Brave here, though. Balthier's going to be able to act in a second, though, because the Petrify goes away very quickly. That high Brave is a little concerning, and so my solution here is just going to be to hopefully break that down with Luminous Shard again. This is actually, in terms of situations to be in, for a Lufenia that is quote-unquote easier than some of the others, we're in kind of a weird spot, partially because that friend Ramza kind of really screwed us over. So we're trying to push back turn order as much as we can, or at least buff ourselves and do that. Because we're not going to lose. We have too many really great stat interactions going on here for it to matter. I could have snatch shotted there, actually. Did I? Maybe that's what I did without even realizing it. I thought I used great aim. Maybe I'm wrong. Because we can still summon, which is down here, which is Odin, which during summon periods we're going to get our EX abilities and a lot of other things. In fact, because of the way things are going, I'm just going to summon now. And we're not going to finish the enemy, but we're going to get them close. We're just going to get them really, really close. I've burned through a lot of abilities with Paladin and Cecil, though, which is a little unfortunate. But because we're in our summon phase, we are going to get our EX abilities up really quick, which means hitting them pretty darn hard. I wouldn't be surprised if, yep, we have Weapon Master up here, which is really cool. And the next time I use Furion, I'll apply that counter debuff one more time. And look at that again. More EX abilities. So just hit them, hit them, hit them. Right, I'm not worried about losing this event. It just, this did not go as cleanly as my other run, which didn't have Balthier, it had Theodore, who is a character I really like. And so we'll reapply this debuff, and we'll do a little bit of damage here. And so they're at 2%, which is like, that's nothing. 2% is nothing. And so, in fact, we'll enchant people just in case, which I don't think we'll need. But we'll slide down here, and it's entirely possible that Balthier gets the final shot here. No, not quite. It looks like Furion could get it on the counterattack, though. Yep. Interesting. Fun way to end. So this is just a cool party. I feel like I messed up some of those interactions in terms of reducing damage, but this is definitely a cool party to use. Paladin and Cecil is just so strong. Just really, really cool. I also, like, I'm one of the real Balthier stands in this game, and just in general. I like Balthier. 12 is a good game, great battle system. The story is kind of shitty. Great localization. But mostly, I wanted to make this video because I wanted to make stuff. I need to keep focused on making stuff. I need to focus on the studio. I need to, from the pop-up that you saw, even though I'm gonna blur it out, I need to focus on Raid tonight. I need to be around for the people in my life, right? Which just meant that, hey, a cool chance happened for me to show off a game I like and some cool character interactions, which is a thing I want to do. Whoa, it's suddenly me from the future. The video cut out for a second. All I'm saying is I want to make good work, and that's what I'm going to do. So otherwise, I will see you around. Goodbye.